Is everyone having fun? Yes. I don't hear. Is everyone having fun? Give me a good yes. Yes. Okay, thank you guys. At this time, I would like to call on the president of the Focolare movement, Mrs. Margaret Karam, to give us some few words. All right, sorry, just a little bit of correction. We'll take a short break for a few minutes, and then we'll get you guys on the floor. So just bear with us. And grab something real quick to drink. We have a few more minutes, and then we'll continue with the program.
Just a couple of minutes. Is that all right? Enjoy.
Very much for this invitation. And due to our numerous commitments, and especially the situation of the COVID-19 pandemic, she dedicated us. We are Lecudo and co-directors of the Focolare movement in North America. We're really honored to be here today and happy for the opportunity to intervene in this conference and bring you a brief fraternal message of greetings, love, and friendship. Please welcome this message as an expression of Margaret's own sentiment, but also in the name of the whole community of the Focolare world.
As we all know, the relationship between the Focolare movement and the LeBialem, and in particular the Bango community, began a long time ago, more than 50 years. And precisely in February 1966, when the first group of Focolarini arrived in Fonte. And just a few months later, the same year, Chiara Lubic herself, today our Mafo and them, visited Fonte for the first time. And it was June 1966. And during that trip, it was there, during that trip, that the strong bond of understanding with the Bango authorities, in particular Fondifang and the other fonds, as well as the rest of the population, was established. Also, on that occasion, the foundation stone of the hospital Mary Health of Africa was laid down. Chiara then visited Fonte 2 other times during her lifetime. In 1969, while in Fonte, she inaugurated, together with Fondifang Fonte, the Mary Health of Africa Hospital. The Bango people always made a strong and profound impression on Chiara, who during that trip commented, "Never in any other place have I found such kindness, goodness, such profound human values, so much love and faith as here in Fonte." Chiara went back to Fonte for a third and final time in May 2000. On that occasion, before leaving Fonte, she desired to see the relationship built together over the decades in a public, solemn pact of keeping mutual love that she made with the Fon of Fonte and the Fon of Fongiuneto, and then extended it to the entire LeBialem population present that day at the Asilo Bank Palace.
So, love. Love seems to be the word, the best word among many others, which can describe the relationship that unites the Focolare and the Bango community. The various realizations established during the years in Fonte, you already mentioned the hospital, Our Lady Wisdom College, the hydroelectric plant, the carpentry, the workshop, the garage, the nursery school, and much more. All of these things, they are tangible and concrete signs of their love, but also at the same time vehicles that bring such love to many people in need. This is what made the miracle in the forest, as someone defined it, the miracle of Fonte. Shared love brought to people in need. As the story of Fonte unfolded through the years, many people in the larger family of the Focolare around the world have been inspired and got involved in various ways, making monetary contributions, offering time, skills, spreading the story of Fonte, or simply by praying. For example, the two of us, remember, when we were young, as Gen, Youth of the Focolare in Italy, we were involved in projects for collecting funds for Fonte, in what was then called African Operation, or later on, African Project. So it is not difficult to imagine how Fontaine has a special place in Miss Margaret's heart, in our hearts, and in those of many others. Just as it did for Chiara, for Don Foresi, and their immediate successors, Miss Amos Maevoce, Father Giancarlo Fanetti, and Father Jesus Moran. We can affirm, hopefully without being inappropriate, that a bit of Fontaine belongs to us as well, or better, that a bit of us belongs to Fontaine. For we're all part of the same family, thanks to the spirituality of unity typical of the Focolare movement, the work of Mary.
Of course, the crude reality of what happened in these last few years in Cameroon, especially for Fontaine, has been a shock for many of us. We can only imagine what this has been for all of you who are direct descendants of these chosen people. Be sure, we are close to each of you and your families, and pray God that He may bring back peace to Fontaine and to the whole country of Cameroon and the whole of Africa. As we follow and continue to follow the developments of the ongoing situation, we can't help but raise a cry to God. Why this? Why Fontaine? We don't yet have the answer, but we hold tight to something that Chiara Manfondem told us since the beginning, that God's love never abandons us, and even in the most terrible events, we can find His presence and love. We are sure that even now as we speak, notwithstanding the great suffering, many people in Fontaine experience also the consoling presence of God, and we continue to pray for this. The words of a great friend of Fontaine, the Focolarino physician Piero Pasolini, constructor of the hydropower station of Fontaine, help us in this moment. He used to repeat, with the certainty that only faith and hope can give, that the future is always better than any past. Also, we still remember the words of Chiara Manfondem pronounced during her last visit to Fontaine in May 2000, when immediately after celebrating the Pact of Mutual Love, which we mentioned before, she spoke of what she called the vocation of Fontaine, to be the city on the mountaintop, so that everyone can see it, admire it, and imitate it. Today, with the current events, these words may seem a bit out of reality, even absurd or misleading. And yet, we believe that this is in fact part of God's plan for Fontaine. To become once again, more than ever, the city on the mountaintop.
For this, we pray and we work, Focolare and Bando community together, as always, in building and rebuilding the miracle of Fontaine. We conclude now by assuring each and every one of you here in the United States that we consider all the Bandua and the Focolare people as members of the same family. We wish, we want to maintain the presence of Jesus in our midst. And please, know that you are always invited to take part in our gatherings, our meetings, events such as the Mariapolis, as you usually do when you're in Fontaine. Thank you. I wish you the best.
Thank you. Just briefly, I wanted to introduce. I'm Carlos. I said before, I'm originally from Spain. I'm a Focolarino. I came to the US many, many years ago. I've been in this area, in the Maryland area, for the last 5 years. Before I was in Los Angeles, before that in New York. With me there is also Sonia from Argentina. She also lives in a Focolare center, in a Focolare household of women in Bethesda, not far from here. And last but not least is Nick Acha. Most of you know him He's also one of your people in this area, very involved with the movement. Our point of contact also here. He combines the best of your culture and your tradition with this unwavering passion for unity like you had. So this is the three of us here represented. One more thing. Enrico said in the video, or Erika, I don't know, one of the two, that we are family, and it feels like family. So we wanted to thank you for this invitation. I wanted to acknowledge we feel at home with all of you. And I also wanted to encourage you, since we're here locally, and I know you sometimes have many things locally in this area, please invite us, not as guests, but as family, as participants, as Lecuado. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Focolare, representatives, Carlos, and the other Maryland, DC Focolare representatives. Everyone is looking so beautiful today. I'm so excited, I'm so proud. Are you all proud? Excited? Everybody looks so cute. I'm telling you, wonderful, colorful. And we know with the pandemic, we've had some limitations. But that notwithstanding, we have everybody supporting us from other countries all the way through Cameroon. At this time, we would like to welcome someone who's international, Professor Michael Martin Nkemkia. He is from Italy and he's going to give a speech on Zoom. Good afternoon, Professor Nkemkia. Patience, you know, technology always comes in very handy, but they also give us some hiccups. So at this time, we're just wanting to make sure that we have a good volume from Professor Martin Nkemkia, all the way from Italy.
The two former CEO emeritus of Lecudo USA. Sister Flo, okay.
Okay.
And for the...
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let me start. Okay. So
Thank
Your Majesty's Con Sabaton, Con Joseph Conjugator, they present with you. Your Royal Highness, Chiefs became Marquess, notable, ladies and gentlemen, all participants, brothers and sisters here present today. I am very pleased to participate in this Lecudo Annual Convention, version 2021. I'm speaking just immediately after the delegate of the Focolare movement, delegated by the President Margaret Karen, whom I met recently, and we discussed of your meeting before then. I have very little to say. Since we do a lot of things together, so I don't have to teach you anything. But just to remind you something that in this type of occasion we should talk about. The first thing I wanted to talk here is that we all know what has happened to our country, what is being said today as the miracle in the forest. We are the miracle in the forest, all of us here present. Many of us are alive because of that miracle. And we will, at the present moment, we would not like to hear somebody talking about the Focolare movement and we. We are the Focolare movement. The day we gave a throne, we grounded Ruby, not from them. It is not more possible to talk about the Focolare and ourselves. We are together. So whatever is important today is ours, 100%. This is the first message I wanted to
to launch here, to remind us, because I know many of us know they don't need to be taught this. We just have to remember that let us not refer to Focolare as just the two delegates said before, we are a family. When we talk of the Focolare, it is us. When we talk of there's no other person apart from us. Us means white, black, and everyone who is there living in that little town in the mountains, as they said from them. We are those people. We are known in the world. We are very proud here. You don't know how proud we are when we go to places and then they say, are you from them? And we have to say yes. So everybody in the house is all laughing because they have met somebody from them. Okay? So let us not make that thing to go less wherever we are. They told you now that in America they would like that you all are one family, the family of around the family of the family of the family, wherever you are, wherever we are. So the team that you have brought of this year is very important, reconciliation. The role, your role in the reconciliation. You know that Lecudo is one of the highest expressions of the Mwe people. We know. So it should never be less. Never one day we should go less than what we have today. We should always go ahead. And every development in the country is our development. There's nothing for someone else and something for us. Everything is ours. And the Focolare movement is with us 100%. We put the symbol of Kiara and mark on them in the hospital there, and we will not remove it again. One of the things that one of my friends here at the mission in the Vatican told me was that, what about Bishop Peters? You all know that without Bishop Peter, who our farm went and met with the delegation to ask for somebody to come, we would not have been where we are today. So begin to think of what should we do to let the bishops remain also in our land as much for them as is remaining there. That is what I'm launching that to you people. So the last thing, so I said I will not speak long. I'm a teacher, so if you leave me, I will speak for 2 days. And that's not the case here. So the other thing is that when we usually say Focolare movement, I myself am a Focolare. I'm the first Bama Focolare, for those who don't know. So we were the people who put that first foundation, so I was one of the small child running around there carrying sand and putting there for them to put the foundation of the hospital. Before ever any other thing came up. I was one of those guys. So now, what happened is that we used to clap hands when the white man comes to compare or the Focolare coming, we go and dance in the street or in Malay or in Mendy and say, oh, they are coming, they're from Italy, they are from this. This time, when I went and spoke with the president, and the situation that we are living in the country, it was necessary that somebody takes over the place officially as the delegate of the Focolare movement in Cameroon. And normally it's the president who nominates who appoints that person. So this time, for several circumstances, it came out that one of the Bama people, or the Fontaine people, could be appointed. So I'm announcing to you now, because you may not know. No other person will tell you, because that announcement was not supposed to be to you. But we are together with one family. It is now given to you by me. Just take it that way, okay? So recently, just more than a month ago, the president, Karen Margaret, nominated by a decree, led to Mr. Marcellus Nkeza, Nkeza. You know him. If you don't know him, you will learn to know him, okay? He is a new delegate of the Focolare movement in Luala. The center of the center is in Luala. He has been nominated together with one Cameroonian also, who is from Luala herself, is a lady, Agnes Marie. She's called Agnes Marie. Marcellus is from Fontaine, Agnes Marie is from Cameroon. This is the first time in the whole history of the Focolare movement that two Cameroonians are heading the movement in Cameroon. So we thank God. For sharing this moment. We will received together with our funds, as they usually do when a delegate was coming from Rome. And so the delegate is coming, we will go there and organize downstairs. So we have to now receive Marcellus. We'll find out how to receive him with Daniel's marriage and tell them we are with them. They are coming to work with us. As Dr. Lucho was here with us, as Ms. Marlene has done with us, as Chacho has done with us, as Dr. Steve has done with us, and so on. You all know this program calling. Now it is Marcellus, careful in case. So thank God for that. We will study together. We will work together. That is the challenge that we will pass through now to get to Margaret Canada. Okay? Anything concerning content, hospital, college, and so on, will be made known to you by writing afterwards. It is under the responsibility of Marcellus and Agnes Mali. Okay? Is that enough for today?
Actually, they're going to coordinate something on Zoom regarding the Focolare partnership. So go ahead, Mr. George LMG, you and Ms. Arakeles.
She's on Zoom, so she connect her.
Let's see if we can get Ms. Arakeles on Zoom. Are you ready, Ms. Arakeles? Can you unmute yourself, please? Unmute yourself. Yes, thank you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Stop. You can stop. It's okay.
You can go ahead, Ms. Arakeles.
Hello? Can you hear me? Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Bonjour, toi. Then I can maybe fear to have come. And the Arakeles are coming to you and help me. That's one show. Since I would like to speak in English so that we are fast. Since the crisis started, the Marapoli Center has been a source of refuge for our people. Families. Many families came to the Marapoli Center for refuge. And when our brothers and sisters, the Focolare left, we took over the place. And we continue with our daily prayers, words of life, services at the Marapoli Center. And I would like to underline here that the spirit of Mama Kiara Mafwanden has helped us so much to keep us united. Because we do words of life, we share our experiences. And I want to tell you that the community is now very united. We share and very concerned. We have a lot of concern for one another. With the workers of the Marapoli have been taking care of all the structures that were left there. The powerhouse, the building workshop, the garage, and all this. No source of income for their wages because we all depend on providence. And I would like to tell you people that from that time till now, from October 2018 till today, the workers have been sustained by providence. And I would also like to use this opportunity to thank very much Lecudo USA, Lecudo USA, Sweden USA, and a host of Focolare family friends for their constant support to us. Because actually in Fontaine there is nothing, no market, nothing. So if people are still surviving, it's because of this support. May God bless all of you abundantly for your constant support to us. We were able to take care. We were able to take care of the pregnant women who come and stay at the before their time of delivery. And mothers who come also for vaccine, because the hospital is the only place or the whole area where people come there for vaccination. And when the powerhouse failed, it became a very big difficulty for us because there are no lights. So there is actually nothing. And because the road is constantly blocked from Chamfontaine Road is constantly blocked. So most of the time we have difficulties with these situations. On Saturday, the 3rd of August, recently the Archbishop of Manfred, the Archbishop sent us a priest. And this priest is currently living with us in the name of Father Damien. He is from the Northwest region. He is currently living with us at the Mariapoli Center. All our activities are taking place at Belenge Palace, like church services, because the Mariapoli Center was closed for some time. But the workers and other people are still living there. But no main activity like church services, word of life that we used to have there, we no longer hold there. The hospital till now has been the only place where people go there for treatment. The spirit of the folklore movement still exists very strongly there. Ever since the doctors left, the few nurses that came back to stay with their people have been doing a marvelous job, worthy of praise and appreciation. The hospital also serves as a place of refuge for the nurses, and some of them are still living there till today. However, things are not the same as before. There are many challenges. No electricity, making the storage of some medications and vaccines difficult. Running the big generator is very expensive. Reason why it is usually put on for few hours a day, which delays the follow-up of some patients, and as they must all wait until the time when the generator will be put on. Transporting drugs from Jam to Fontaine is also a big challenge. HIV drugs that used to be free, now it becomes very difficult because we have to transport it from Jam to Fontaine. In an analysis of Wisdom College, when classes were in test, it became very difficult. Some few workers were left there by the administration, and they continued their work. After some time, the tension became so high, and they left out of fear of insecurity of what may happen to them. When they left, the few workers of the Mariapoli Center continued to take care of that place. But since the stretch of road in as if Nchowenya was the place of the target, the battlefield at the time, it became very difficult for people to continue working there. And because of that, the place was there for some time, and it became bush actually. When the pictures went viral, sometimes some pictures that we say went viral, some Sweatland took upon themselves, Sweatland USA and Lecudo USA. They sent us support to clean the place.
Please. That's why we're having this.
And we are very grateful for all the support that we have been receiving as work is still continuing till today. Recently we started a holiday classes in Belenge. Who has been at home, we started this class, it has not been for 2 weeks. And we have had 56 children. And parents are very, very enthusiastic about the classes. I would like to also give a rundown of the income that we have received, the support that we have received from you people. We received in July 2020 750,000 francs at the Mariapoli Center, which was used for paying of bills because we have some sickle cell children that were with us. The folklore while they were still there, for helping them. So when they left, we continue. And this, for the payment of this bill, there is even a girl, Lynette, who has been there ever since because the two brothers died. And so the Kokarini took over that child and she was living with us at the Marapoli Center. Constant blood transfusion to 220,000 francs. And then food for all people around 100,000. Lodging of pregnant and lactating mother 150,000 francs. Transportation in and out contain 150. Communication 30,000. Support of school fees for children 100,000. It gives us a total of 750 that we receive from Lecudo. Then later US sent us 532,890 francs. 250,000 was given to the hospital. Switzerland also sent us 353,100 francs, making a total.
Okay, we're having some technical difficulties. Thank you so much, Ms. Arakelis, for that wonderful testimony. I know it drove home to me because all of us have some family and people back home. And I just want to encourage you that all of the work that you're doing, just your physical presence, financial assistance, prayers, everything, she's testifying to that. Even one life that gets touched, please people, just continue to encourage these folks back home. Heard the challenge and all of the struggles they're going through. So thank you so much, Ms. Arakelis, for that wonderful testimony. We are going to move on. Please, let's be brief. Those who are international, we have a time zone and a time difference. So please be brief with your speeches and messages so that we can also accommodate some other folks. We'll go ahead and welcome the president of Lecudo, Europe. On Zoom, Dr. Julius Nye. Oh, let's have Dr. Alemji say a few words here.
Not just, I think I just want to say time is against us. We've heard a lot from the people themselves. The intent of this session was to hear from our rationalists on all what our support. We're so happy the way Professor Nkefe put it that it is us. So we heard from Mrs. Arachelis, and as we walk through this convention, there are other partnerships that we would like to share that are important to continue with this collaboration. So we really want to thank our also colleagues who are here, the members of Folklore. So I think that is it for me. Unfortunately, she could not finish our presentation, but thank you all.
I also want the international community on Zoom. Please, I want the network is gone. Okay, all right. So the international community, the Zoom is disconnected, and we're not going to wait. I think Dr. Emijo.
At this time, because a couple of our speakers were going to be on Zoom, we're going to skip on the program a little bit. I will welcome the CEO of Legda USA, Professor Ndemanu. Thank you. Yes, I can help you.
Okay. His Royal Majesty, before become distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's always been a great pleasure for me to attend Lecudo USA Convention, be there in person or virtual. I'm in my third and final year as the CEO of Legda USA. The organization has collaborated closely with the current and past Lecudo CEOs. The collaboration has taken a higher dimension because all Fondom presidents now sit on the board of Legda USA. Your CEO, Mr. Atem Terence, is a great asset in our board. Permit me to state the obvious. All Fondom development goals are LECDA development goals. There is almost nothing that is development oriented that LECDA will not support. In 2020, which is last year, at the Lecudo convention, I spoke about the need for us to work out ways to start, at minimum, community schools in different Fondoms, and that LECDA was willing to support the initiative when it is led by communities themselves. I am glad the idea is coming to fruition. For security reasons, I'm not going to elaborate on that here. LECDA is working with Dr. Edmond Forever.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. LECDA is working with Dr. Edmond to support the BLM people obtain the BLM healthcare insurance through Catholic hospitals. So, details will follow later on during our board, after our board meeting that is coming up in August. We also plan to begin working with Dr. Mrs. Evelyn Nonja and her Mbongwe non-profit organization based in Boya to support humanitarian needs of the BLM people who are internally displaced in Fako, Meme, and Menua. That is specifically Chang and Sancho. There is no gainsaying, there is no denial that Leban is a pivotal element in the BLM development, not only as the host of the divisional headquarters, but as the birthplace of great educational and health establishments. A good number of the BLM elite today studied either in Seat of Wisdom College or in grammar school, what we call GBHS today. Mary Health of Africa Hospital in Ver has saved so many lives and increased life expectancy for the BLM people at a very affordable cost. I won't overemphasize the role the local community, specifically Leban, played in the construction of these institutions because we all know. I grew up seeing parents put in considerable number of hours to mow sun-dry bricks to erect the first buildings when the folklore group came to Fonjumeto in 1977. Many of us came here through student visas or American diversity visa lottery, and this has disrupted the cycle of poverty in various communities in significant ways. Without a formal education, we wouldn't be here. That is why Leban deserves a lot of credit for being one of the first Fondoms to accept, support, and build schools. That is also why we need to find ways to educate the younger ones stuck in our war-torn Fondoms. Otherwise, they will be condemned to a cycle of poverty that our forebears experienced many years ago. In the spirit of cultivating and nourishing a stronger BLM identity, I would like to make a specific appeal here today. I'm calling on the board of Lecudo USA to revisit and reverse the decision to start a Lecudo life insurance for Lecudo members in the USA. If that decision is not changed, it will weaken LECDA Life and LECDA as an umbrella organization. I have had this discussion with the CEO behind the scene in the past. We need more members and not less to optimize the benefits of the program. Legda Life currently has about 1,500 insured. We also have a separate affordable kids coverage. Last week, we hired an administrative assistant to help us with the recruitment and data management. We have paid all the death benefits without any problem since the inception of Legda Life. You asked for life insurance for the community, and we have been working hard to deliver the goal. I have just one more year to serve as CEO, and my wish is to leave behind a stronger Legda USA. If we have 5,000 people sign up for Legda Life, it would bring us $60,000 a year. $60,000 coming from administrative fee. We will be able to carry out many Legda projects in consonance with individual fundom's aspirations. If you disagree with any Legda policy, talk to your fundom president and he will bring it to the Legda board meetings. Legda board oversees the activities of Legda Life and its administrators. So Legda Life administrators are under Legda USA board. In your own meaningful way, support Legda projects like this signature life insurance program that unifies us all. Long live Lecudo, long live Legda, long live Lebiala. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Ndemano, for that wonderful speech. At this time, we have our Zoom connection back, and we're going to go back to the Cameroon folks, and we'll call on Lecudo president from Cameroon to join us or give us a speech. And please be brief, as we are kind of condensing our program a little bit due to time constraints. Lecudo, Cameroon president, are you ready? Mr. William Mofor. It looks like the speech is quite wordy. We're going to send a speech from Lecudo President Cameroon to the forum because it's wordy. We'll put it on the WhatsApp link and it'll be also on the Lecudo link for all those to read and keep up with that. At this time, I'll hand over to Mr. Antoniaso. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can understand that we are having some technical difficulties because this is actually a dual kind of a conference. We have to use technology to connect with the community folks at home, and we have to also do what we can do here. So the program agenda is being modified depending on the circumstances, facing us. So at this time, I just wanted to do one little thing. Lecudo USA has served us over so many years. And Lecudo USA has been led by so many people. And so earlier today, one of the things we were doing today was to recognize the presence of previous presidents of Lecudo USA. At this time, I also wanted to recognize the presence of one of the Lecudo USA former presidents that was not here when we were recognizing them. I would like to recognize the presence of Macha, former president of Lecudo USA.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is Macha right here. This is another Lecudo USA former president right here. This is Sejonimo, who is a former USO president. Mbembuala is right here. He was the chair of the caretaker committee. That was a position that was equivalent to Lecudo USA CEO. So we acknowledge your presence, Bimbua, and welcome. Lecudo CEO National from Cameroon, Mr. William Mofo, was supposed to address us, but since his speech was quite worthy, the Vice Chair, Dr. Tumbong, will have to just kind of summarize it. But before Dr. Tumbong, I give her the microphone, I want to stand here and take responsibility for a very big procedural error that we have committed today. You know, sometimes when we are running around trying to put things together, a lot of little things, they slip through our fingers and we really lose control of things. This is a very formal conference, and I'm, as the moderator of the conference today, I'm really taking responsibility for that error. So please blame me. I'm sorry about that. The procedural error we committed today is that we have gone very far into our agenda for the day. When we started this thing, we were trying to pull all the pieces together. People were not yet here, and we kind of were carried through by, the things that we're supposed to do. We are starting late. So the problem we really created for ourselves today is that maybe all of the things that we have discussed so far are actually, I would say, illegal. The reason being that this agenda of today's convention was not yet adopted. And I'm really sorry for that. The agenda was posted on the internet long ago and everybody was supposed to have taken note. But at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to request that if any person has anything against the agenda, you can point out what you don't like in the agenda, and we have to adopt the agenda. One person has to move the agenda adopted, and we need somebody to second, and then we'll move forward. Thank you. Motion of adoption, please. Yes, Mr. Parambo.
All protocol duly observed. Technically, I'm not accurate to raise a motion. What I want to suggest is looking at the agenda and considering what happened in the past. The business of the day is finances and projects. So we can, after the speeches, we could just go into maybe financial report, and then after financial report and other project description and voting and order. That is my humble suggestion, so that we solve time.
We need a motion to adopt that. We need a motion to adopt the agenda, please. If you raise your hand up, you should be. Dr. Dominic.
I, Dominic Fabele, having gone through the agenda of Lecudo 2021 convention, I hereby asserting that it is good and move a motion and plead on all of you to support me in adopting the motion that the agenda stand adopted. Thank you.
Somebody to second that motion, please. Seconded.
Mr. Moderator, my point is, how are we moving an adoption when people are making adjustment on the agenda, on the program? We should first of all adjust whatever changes we want to effect, then move a motion to adopt the program. Thank you.
The adjustments are not coming because we like it. The adjustments are coming because of the difficulties we face, being that it is a convention that is in hybrid form. So because of the technical difficulties, we make the adjustments as we go. So we move the agenda as it is, and then we leave it on the people running the program of the day to make the necessary adjustments. So I think that is what we would like to do. So the agenda is adopted, it's been seconded. Please, this is not a time for debate. Ms. Marie Mofo, did you second that? Okay.
I read the agenda and I seconded the motion.
You second the motion? Yes. Is there anything you wanted to say, Mr. Seal? Is it about the agenda? We don't have a debate about the agenda, Mr. Seal, please.
Gojo, democratically, when you are part of the proposed agenda, you don't move the agenda. Listen to me. Let us be very straight. If you're part of the agenda, the proposed agenda, you don't move the agenda. You present the agenda and the assembly move the agenda. So I object Dr. Dominic to move the agenda. I accept Marie to move the agenda and someone second to be adopted. Thank you.
Is somebody going to second? Chris Hassan, you want a second? Okay, thank you, Chris, for seconding. So the agenda is adopted as it is.
I just wanted to go on record that I objected the motion. Let it go on record. The reason why I'm saying that is because I've seen 1 hour. When you look at the program, you see within 1 hour, we have to do the financial report, do the adoption of the bylaws. It is feasibly not possible. We should stop deceiving ourselves. And by the time we reach by 5 o'clock, people will be tired and get out of here. We'll find ourselves into the wrangling that we have been finding ourselves. But because of our people to move on, we can move on, but we'll be stuck somewhere. Thank you very much. I rest my case.
Thank you for your comment. The moderating team is taking everything into account and will do the best we can to run this day as smoothly as possible.
We'll continue with a message from the President General of Lecudo, Mr. Morpho William Folefe, delivered on the occasion of Leban 2021 in-person convention holding in Maryland, USA. He writes, I am privileged to address this message to the leadership and members of Lecudo, USA on the occasion of your convention. The message is titled Lecudo, its mission and its branches and partners. And then please, I beg your indulgence, I'm going to summarize in some areas. He says the message seeks to redefine the mission of Lecudo as conceived by its creators about 4 decades ago, highlight the challenges Lecudo faces presently, and seek a possible way forward. Appreciation to Lecudo USA. It is gratifying to acknowledge that Lecudo USA has over the years championed and sponsored several development projects in Fontem, Leban. In 2020, for example, Lecudo USA spent a colossal 10 million francs CFA or thereabouts to alleviate the suffering of Leban war victims in several towns in the West region. Challenges of Lecudo: poor governance within some branches, limited financial resources for the organization, ideological perception and influence of Leban royalty on Lecudo, the socio-political crisis in the Northwest and Southwest regions, the Anglophone crisis, the effect of which has been very devastating on Lecudo and Leban as a whole. So what is my expectation of Lecudo USA? In order to boost and sustain the image of Lecudo as a veritable socio-cultural and development platform for Leban, I expect Lecudo USA to collaborate with the National Executive Bureau of Lecudo in the planning, financing, and in the execution of projects or actions intended to improve the livelihood of Leban people. I am in pain to imagine that the statutes of Lecudo USA do not seem to guarantee such a partnership, which must undoubtedly depend on mutual trust and confidence between the leadership of Lecudo and Lecudo USA. Support for the Focolare movement, reorganization of some branches and the Bank Development Convention, and school resumption in Fontem as some of the big projects that he expects from Lecudo in general. In conclusion, Lecudo is at the crossroads after close to 4 decades of existence. It certainly requires the participation of all Lecudo branches and Leban people of goodwill to reconstruct Leban. We expect and trust that Lecudo USA will continue to play a very active role and in partnership with Lecudo Central in the development of Leban. We thank God Almighty for the organizers of the 2021 Lecudo USA Convention. Long live Lecudo, long live Leban. Morpho William, President General Lecudo, Cameroon.
Thank you, Lecudo Cameroon, for that speech to us. at this time, there are other things that we really need to catch up with. I think our cultural icons, we're going to give the slot coming up next to our cultural icons. And I'm standing here now to say that His Royal Majesty at Mangba, who is here, is going to address the convention. And that will be followed by the host at Mangbat, who is Fontema Sabatong in Cameroon. So His Royal Majesty Fonjumeto is going to address the convention, and that will be closely followed by the host, Royal Majesty. He's hosting us. He's not here physically. He's going to address us by Zoom. I'm going to hand the microphone over to His Royal Majesty Fontema Mangbat right now.
But abaye wo ka bo na se making come back more protocol but man get that me fo it's at me come it's at ngong le ba is a king ko it's all mba mo afa allergy so la no la go instead of ever cover my fellow Lebang people, thank you for inviting me to attend this great convention, which is not the first time, and as always, I feel very warm in your midst. To me, this is clear testimony of the good kinship existing not just between the Fontem and Fonjumeto royal thrones, but fully between the people of the two kingdoms existing from time immemorial. Before I proceed, I would pray that we all rise for a minute of silence to pay tribute to those who have been called to eternity, either maturely or prematurely during the ongoing crisis. Thank you. My great Lebang people and friends found in this Lemo Fontaine. On behalf of my good friend, His Majesty the Fount of Fontaine, and my own personal self, I just want to greet all of you on our two behalves. Just as was the case with my good friend, partner and twin brother, His Majesty von Fontem Jifwa, my relations with the current incarnate of Lebang traditions, His Majesty von Fontem Sabaton, continue to grow higher and higher, despite my physical absence due to ill health, which you hear. I continue to find a lot of cordial traditional relationship in His Majesty von Fontem Sabaton, which is a continuation of history. He just told me how glad he was to recognize my physical presence in your midst this weekend. I do pray that our ancestors make this affinity grow from generation to generation for perpetuity, forever. I see this instant also to thank those of you since 2014 who have either individually or collectively given me both financial and material support during my regular medical visits to and from the United States of America. Really, for those of you who were present at Azim Palace in 2014, like His Royal Highness Chifukweta Fontem, Chifunge, Chifumonya, Mbembala, Mbetazi, Ndisa Fontem, Ndikem Kong, Ndikem Kwitabong, etc., just to name a few, will bear with me that during the live celebration of my beloved brother and friend, His Majesty von Jeffrey, I was not there just from the beginning to the end, but also brought all important cultural paraphernalia and traditional dances from Abamu Palace to grace the occasion. This cultural display epitomized our royal intimate goodwill interactions from antiquity as expressed in our oral literature. This very warm diplomatic network had further been enhanced by our signing of the Pact of Mutual Love with Mama Fondem Kiera Lubitsch in May 2000 on our new evangelization program. I will not elaborate on that. My dear Leban people, at this juncture, permit me to briefly comment on the theme of your convention, culture and development. My best wish is for the deliberations of your great convention to proceed in a frank, cordial, and a pleasant manner. In my capacity as one of the embodiments of our cultural heritage, I want to thank you for the marvelously displaying over 5 traditional dances last Friday. I'm sorry I was unable to be there because of the COVID. I like to dance very much. I should have been there with you, but I was there in spirit. This cultural revival practice did not only seek to preserve our traditional values, but have also shown, but rarely does one help the other. None of the parties is ever belittled or depreciated by the other through ignorance. Since antiquity, our people have always respected, honored, and positively advised their traditional leaders, who in turn cordially abide by and guide their people's aspirations during good and hard times for the benefit of all. This is why our traditional institutions have subsisted all adversities. Therefore, we have to abhor all those who mischievously soiled their hands with the blood of a kindred, or rejoice when the blood of a fellow folk is spilled, no matter the circumstances. This war has caused untold havoc in our ancestral lands, with our people killed and many dying collaterally, leaving behind orphans, widows, and widowers with deadly pain and suffering. Many survivors are still scattered in the forest or displaced elsewhere. I pray our ancestors and the Almighty God, our Creator, that they will together comfort the suffering and induce backstabbers to reform their mindset and not betray but love their neighbors again. We all have to reflect and be affectionate so that mutual love prevails in our communities. I, for one, think I will always stand by the aspirations of our people. In the development sphere, I love this Lebanon man's attitude to assist and rescue one another during a crisis like the one affecting our region for about 5 years now. I salute Lecudo USA's post-conflict reconstruction and development blueprint to feed the hungry masses as well as set up community schools in Lebanon Kingdom. May this endeavor be well implemented. Indeed, your regular food and humanitarian supply worth thousands of dollars since 2017 is really saving lives. You remain our good example of a success story by assisting your people in agony and in danger of peril. Please keep this flame of assistance burning. Indeed, while Lecudo USA cannot per se by itself stop this war, such multifaceted funding can greatly reduce the burden on our people. And we thank you for everything. I would suggest that you share some of these your valuable strategies with Lecudo USA, who can then sensitize other funders to emulate and do the same, notably in the domains of education, healthcare, road infrastructure, etc. Many funders are also assisting their people in distress, but not yet in this magnitude of the Leban people. Your input may therefore have a spurring multiplier effect in all the 17 funders of the BLM to alleviate poverty. Furthermore, and likewise, as the current president of Funds Friends of the Focolare Movement, I appreciate your intention to strengthen the efficiency of Mary Health of Africa Hospital Fontaine, built by our pioneer developers in the early 1960s. We all recognize that Mama Fondem Kiera and the Focolare companions uplifted the Bawa people from ignorance, sickness, social and spiritual poverty through education, infrastructure and development, and religious development. And also, many of these achievements too have equally been devastated by this atrocious war. Since 2016, I have been in regular contact with the Focolaris hierarchy, and also lately with the new president, Ms. Margaret Kassa, who just told me and affirmed to me that they are ever mindful of the difficult socio-cultural situation that we still face, and that the movement continues to pray fervently for peace to return and prevail in our ancestral lands as before. I also wish, and this is serious, that your fundraising initiative this evening be a resounding success to help you carry out your projects to improve livelihoods of your people. I know you all as very hardworking men and women. This is for your ears only. I have good news and bad news. The good news is that we already have all the money needed for all these projects in you. The bad news is that the money is all still in your pockets. So please, put your hands deeper into your pocket and give your last penny for a great fundraising to wipe the tears of the crying people of Leban and the BLM in general. I trust you. I know that you can do it again, as you have always done. May peace, freedom, and unity prevail again in our ancestral lands. My dear Leban people, may I invite you all on behalf of my colleague and myself to stand. Most of you are already standing up. For me to perform the solemn invitation of our ancestors to join us and guide us during this convention. Melem lebang, melem mamito, melem libielem. Nga babu tuwe se, nga jadan dem jale festival po, nga anga sung lambang, anti ebo lebang, ngong lebang zekin konti de chong, ba mishuba, nga ba pite, fashe. Et il va leur épiter à la azur à dire un bonbon. Et il va leur piter à ce coup. Et il va que pour le gros combo. Et il va que d'abord ma vesinanda un conto n'a le faut pour un dango men soto abaram sem abarala abaraba. Tawo King Yam wasn't tell you that. Tawo Yin doesn't tell you. I want to bring some tongue and Bazabo. And go. We should have been them here to festival poor. And guys, I shouldn't tell you because of fire. And couldn't to work. Even a nigger never like book. And got me lemon banger, me lemon mamma to a lemon be a lemon, but what it was since you tend them here to festival poor. And got to you might a man with your bow, a man with your bow, a man with your, a man with your.